Hi, I'm David.
I'm Melissa.
And we're your neighborhood realtors.
We're your neighbors here in Southeast Fresno.
And we also happen to be realtors who specialize in Southeast Fresno. Now, this is our first video for the Sequoia Elementary School neighborhoods. And being the first video, we really wanted to dive into how we evaluate these neighborhoods and how we provide this information. So it's a good blueprint on what we're going to be presenting on a month-to-month basis.
So with that being said, it's a lot of useful real estate information. But we realize not everyone's going to be moving or buying a new home or even refinancing in the next 6 to 8 months. So really the goal with this is just to keep you informed. Your home is going to be one of the largest purchases and largest investments you ever make. So we just want to keep you up to date on what your home is worth.
Yes. And in doing so, we realize that about 90% of you are not going to be doing a real estate transaction in the next 6 months, but the 10% of you are. We want to keep you informed so when the other 90%, their time does come, there hasn't been a bad trend set in place by a couple of misinformed sellers, because one little domino in the wrong direction can cause a huge effect on actually an entire zip code. And our zip code being a very unique one with 3 separate school districts and 3 vastly different resale markets, we want you to be informed so you can make the right choice and price your home the right way and get the full value that you deserve.
Exactly. So along with the real estate information, we give you updates every month on the newsletter. So we'll give you just kind of a breakdown of what's for sale, what's pending, and what's recently sold. But along with that, we also like to give you some useful kind of home tips or do-it-yourself type of information. We like to make a lot of fun things. We like to consider ourselves do-it-yourselfers. We are not carpenters. We are not woodworkers. We're pretty beginner level, but that makes it kind of fun. It's something that you can accomplish in a weekend, and a lot of times even something you could do with the kids.
Yes.
We've done some fun things like the wooden easel behind us and built a pallet bar, and we'll be doing some fun kind of holiday ones coming up.
Yes. And we also do different little tricks around the house. For instance, next month we're doing a video on how to check to see if your appliances have been recalled. Like most of the people in these neighborhoods, about 70% are not the original owners. So if there was a recall and you happen to miss that, it's a really easy way to figure out if there has been something that has been recalled. For instance, our neighborhood or our subdivision actually had a recall on the standard dishwasher that was issued, and we just found out about that recently. And so we show you how to check it and then how to actually find the plug to unplug it, because it actually was a major fire hazard, which is neat.
Yeah, it's a lot of useful information like that, especially since, like he said, most people aren't the original owners. There's going to be things you don't know, appliances you're not registered for. So any of those little tips we have along the way, we want to share with you.
Yes. And we also like to reach out to local businesses and provide different ads and coupons for their services. We want this newsletter to be something of value that you look forward to each month, and it happens to have real estate information, so it's there when the time does come and you do need it. So, and if you happen to be a local business owner, please reach out to us. We'd love to feature you on the website as well as in the newsletter, and maybe do a little write-up as well as provide a coupon to the surrounding neighborhoods.
Yeah, we do it all for free. It's just all about building each other's businesses and helping keep everybody informed and up to date.
Yes. So hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us or leave a comment below. Normally this is where we dive into what each home's value is on the resale market right now, just to give you a better idea of what your home's worth. So if you are thinking of selling, you have good information going into that listing appointment while interviewing agents. Or if you're thinking of refinancing, it would help you out in getting what you need to either get rid of your mortgage insurance or cash out to build a pool or whatever reason you may be using. Because this is the first video we are doing for this neighborhood, we kind of want to do a breakdown and explain what we do. Now, values are going to be on the websites. If you look down below, there'll be a link to each individual size group. Just figure out which size home you are, click the link, and it'll pop you up a slide of what your home's worth. Being an expert in the Southeast Fresno real estate market, we know that there are 3 different school districts, and each school district actually performs completely different than the other. And especially in this part of town, on the Kings Canyon and Fowler area. Because at that point, all three school districts, Fresno, Sanger, and Clovis, all come together. So it's kind of the three corners of the Bermuda Triangle of pricing when it comes to the resale market. Now, for the sake of this vlog, we are focusing on Sanger Unified. And there are three different subgroups in Southeast Fresno that we classify. And those are John Walsh, Sequoia, and Lone Star. We simply just use the names of the elementary schools because it makes it pretty simple. And actually, the price ranges actually are quite conveniently matched to each school district. We have, for the last 18 months, been focusing strictly on John Walsh. And that's actually the neighborhood we live in, and we have been providing the newsletters and doing the quarterly updates as well as a monthly update of what's sold in each individual neighborhood for this community. And as we do our research, we realize that the Sequoia area actually dictates the three other neighborhoods more than anything. So we really wanted to expand over to it, and so this is actually our first update for the Sequoia neighborhoods. Now, when we break down a neighborhood, we like to keep it relatively simple and give quarterly updates per size models. And so what we do is we typically go through this video and we break down each different groups ranging within about 100 to 200 square feet, so you can get a good idea of what your home is worth. Now, what's unique about our area is there is a lot of the old Sunnyside custom-built ranch homes built in the 60s and 70s, especially in the John Walsh neighborhood. And because of that, those homes are 30, 40, even 50 years old, and they've been remodeled so many different times that one home compared to the next is a completely different price range. So this map kind of shows you the homes we do not include in these updates, just because each home is so different. We would be doing a disservice if we put a blanket price range on each home. So typically what we do is we focus on homes built 1995 or newer. For the most part, every home in the red and green areas here are built 95 or newer. Now, with the Sequoia neighborhood, there's actually a couple different subgroups. For the most part, Granville is predominantly the number one builder. They built the most homes in the Sequoia area. And on the east side of the map, you'll notice that there's the new Syntax and Lennar subdivisions. Now, those subdivisions are still in the process of being built, so we are not doing newsletters for them just yet. And that's simply because we want them to establish a resale market first, and you can't really establish a strong resale market until the builder has completely built out. Like I said, for the most part, most of these homes are Granville. On this map right here, the red square actually is a little cluster of Lennar-built homes built in the early 2000s. Now, these homes have their own price range, and they actually strive and climb to the level of Granville. However, these homes should, for the most part, always be slightly less than the Granville homes. Now, within the Granville realm, there's two different subgroups. There's the homes that were built in the late 90s, early 2000s, north of Church. And then there's the subgroup that is south of Church, east of Sunnyside. Those were the homes built mid to late 2000s and even into the teens. And the blue group, which is north of Church, I don't know the actual subdivision's name, so if you do know that, if you're one of the original owners of the property, please let us know. Make it a lot easier. For the time being, we're calling it the New Sunnyside Granvilles. Now, one unique thing about this neighborhood is the little gated community, which we've yellowed out here. That little community, we won't be able to actually newsletter, so we're going to exclude from our monthly updates. For the most part, these homes are going to be priced right around the same, so if you do want that information, just take a look at our updates, and your pricing is going to be right around the same. If you want a more accurate number, don't hesitate to contact us. Now the final group, there is a separate builder on the south side of this neighborhood, and actually trickles over from the west side of Sunnyside. I don't know the name of that actual builder who actually built them. I have the name of what they used on title, but I don't believe that's the actual builder's name. So if you do happen to live in one of those neighborhoods, please let us know if you know the builder's name. That'd be extremely helpful as well. They're built in the early 2000s. And for the most part, we aren't noticing a price variance between them and Granville, so we're kind of clustering them up all together. And finally, the blacked out square here, this is part of the Lone Star neighborhood, which we aren't going to get into now. In about 6 months or so, we'll start introducing the Lone Star neighborhood on a completely separate website. And the reason for that is their price range do not compare at all with what's in the Sequoia price range. It's mainly because it's such a tricky area west of Clovis Avenue, where you have the McMillans homes right across the street from each other are actually Fresno Unified. So for the sake of this vlog and this website, it's going to strictly be these 3 subcategories here of Lennar, Sunnyside Granville, and the Grove Granvilles. So now we're going to dive into an observation we've been tracking for about 6 to 10 months. And this is something that can happen in any neighborhood, but for this example, we're going to focus on the new Sunnyside portion of the Granville built homes. Now there's 3 homes that all sold within about a month of each other, all right around 18 to 1900 square feet. And the price range between the 3 homes ranges from $249,000 all the way up to $282,000. So within a month of each other, the price range was $33,000. And for this size homes, that is huge. That's the amount of growth you should see over about a 2 to 3 year period, not a 2 to 3 week period. Now, what happened here was these 3 homes sold based off of what the listing agent provided to the seller, what type of information, the way they pulled comparable properties to dictate what the property would appraise for and what buyers are willing to pay. Now, we're going to focus on these 3 properties and the way they went through it. But first, we're going to dive into how these vast differences in pricing got pulled up. So the middle property, the one that sold for $249,000, this is how they came to their value. So the first step they did was they took a quarter-mile search of that particular property. They typed in the address and they hit. They pulled up the properties that were comparable. That would be 3 bedrooms and 2-bathroom homes within a quarter mile. And in doing so, these 4 properties popped up, and these 4 properties range from 1,200 to 1,500 square feet. Now, right off the bat, that doesn't fit because the properties we're looking at are 18 to 1,900 square feet. So these properties are substantially smaller. On top of that, we are getting homes in a different area, and we've already shown you earlier in this video that the homes in the Lone Star neighborhood are selling for about $15,000 to $20,000 less than the homes selling in the Sequoia neighborhood. So right off the bat, we know that these 4 properties are not good examples of how this property is going to sell and how this property is going to appraise. So the next step in this approach would be to expand the search to a half mile. And in doing so, you get a lot bigger range of properties. Now we're getting size ranges of 1,200 square feet to 1,700 square feet. So still a little bit smaller, but we're getting closer. And right off the bat, we realize, okay, now the top dollar for this entire area for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home is $250,000. Very similar to the list price of $249,900. Now, what's unique about this is all these properties are vastly different properties. Not only the size, but the location and the values given to the locations. So this is a breakdown of where these homes fall in different price range groups. So we have one property actually in Fresno Unified, so a completely different school district altogether. You have 3 properties that fall into the Lone Star region, which again, about $15,000 to $20,000 less in value, and that's an average trend that's been happening for quite some time. You have 2 properties that fall into the Lennar subsection of the Sequoia neighborhood. and then 3 properties in the actual subsection that we're focused on, the new Sunnyside Granvilles, and then 1 in the Grove of Granvilles. Now again, these properties are a little bit smaller. We might be able to use one of them, but for the most part, these are too spread out, too different of neighborhoods. So again, these properties do not work. Now, the next step, or in the proper way you should do this, or a listing agent should present these numbers, is to eliminate the bedrooms and bathrooms when you're doing a search. And the reason for eliminating bedrooms is if you are the original owner of your home, you know when you walk through the models, there was probably an option for a den or a 4th bedroom and different variances like that. So same exact model home could range from a 3-bedroom all the way up to a 5-bedroom home. They're the same exact home, and there isn't going to be that big of a difference in price because one room or 2 has a closet and another one doesn't. So we eliminate bedrooms. That opens up a few more properties. Now the second thing is the reason why we eliminate bathrooms. The true definition of a bathroom that has a sink, a toilet, and a shower is 1 3/4 bathroom. Now most people are going to just call that a two bathroom or a 1 full bathroom for that particular bathroom. Other agents may call that a 3/4 bath. And so a 1 3/4 bathroom is actually the same as a two bathroom home. So again, we're missing out on potential properties that did sell that could be used to justify the proper pricing and size that we need. And then the final step is we want to find properties that include only Granville-built homes, because we've established that these homes have a different price than the surrounding area. And once we do that, that's where we come up with these 4 properties. We have a good range. We have a size range of about 1,600 square feet all the way up to about 2,200 square feet. So one property is a little bit smaller, one property is a little bit bigger, one property is built a few years beforehand, one's a little bit newer. And we also are able to determine that there is a price increase over time, which is what we want to see. We want to be able to track a 6-month period and see, okay, is the market going up or is the market going down? That way we can price accordingly. And in doing so, these 4 properties really show you what a buyer is willing to pay for this property, as well as what an appraiser is going to appraise. And when we take a look at these numbers a little bit more in depth, we'll realize right off the bat that the square footage average for these 4 properties is 1,931 square feet, which is almost identical to the size of the property we are trying to put a price on. Then we'll also notice that the original list price when these properties hit the market averaged out to just over $283,000. And the list price once they accepted an offer was just over $277,000, and the actual sales price was just over $275,000. So that right there gives us a good solid range of how to price a home and what to expect when it sells, because we know buyers are willing to pay this, and we know appraisers are willing to appraise between this range of $275,000 and $283,000. So now that we've established the 2 different ways you can get a $33,000 price difference in valuing a property when putting it on the market, I'm going to tell you how these 3 properties played out and the approaches that they did, which made such a huge difference. So property 1 originally hit the market well before the other 2 properties did. And it actually hit the market at a little bit higher price than probably what it should have at the time, which was $295,000. And then, so that property sat for nearly three months until another property came on the market that was competition. And that would have been property number 2. Now, property number 2 chose the first method of just pulling up a quick quarter mile, then half mile search of 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and listed at $249,900, which, based off of that search, was the top dollar for any home in this area that was 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. So it's justifiable in that reason. It's just not the best way to price a home and not knowing the area. So as a result, property number 1 saw this as direct competition because these properties were literally the same exact model. and dropped its price all the way down to $259,000. Now, at the time, both of these homes were priced well below what the attractive price range was for our entire zip code. And at the time, that price range was $265,000. If you threw $265,000 sticker price on any home in our zip code, it was going to sell in a matter of a weekend. And as a result, both these homes did sell rather quick once they hit the market at this price range. Now, the third property hit the market shortly after the first two did, and they used the more in-depth method where they did a broader search based off of the bedrooms and bathrooms, and they focused in on only Granville-built homes. And they came up with the same range that we did when we did that. So their original list price was $283,900, which was the top of the market. And they actually accepted an offer and sold and had it appraised for $282,000. So they followed that focused approach and got top dollar for the home. Now, if the other two properties had done the same, that price would have ticked up, and they might even have been able to get above $285,000 or even approach $290,000 and set a solid trend going into the winter months. However, the other two properties were reactive and didn't use the proper information and sold for substantially less.
Now, we hope this information has been useful and informative. Again, we know not everyone's going to be looking to sell their home anytime soon, but the goal here is really just to help you be more informed about what your home is worth. Working with someone who knows the area and really knows the ins and outs of all these different neighborhoods makes a drastic difference, as you can see here. So, again, if you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're here to help and to help all of our homes prosper and grow in value. Thanks again. So thanks for watching. Say bye, David.
Bye.
Say bye, Oatmeal.